Hey, Frank, you got to see some of Nick's training. I mean, obviously you saw Nick at convention. I mean, what he's doing, he's definitely an up and coming leader. Can you imagine if we had 20 people that would come into your group that were just like he is, what that would do to the agency?
Hell, imagine 20 of those Nicks coming into your group, not mine, like yours. Here's what's crazy is Nick is not,
amazing.
I mean, I love the guy, but bro, he's not special. He's just refuses to lose. And it's like, if y'all could take what we have and pretend your life depended on you writing $3,000 a day. I mean, legit, like if you didn't write $3,000, somebody's going to walk up behind you as you walked out of the office and put a bullet in your head. I know it's graphic, but like, if you think that way, you'll never not write $3,000. Like it's impossible. So I think Nick's just found a way to, and y'all like might go, he's crazy. No, that's kind of how I tricked my brain into doing stuff I didn't want to do, working in areas I didn't want to work in, going to houses I didn't want to go into, dealing with people I didn't want to deal with. I tricked my brain into going like, if you don't do this, something's going to happen to your kids. If you don't do this, you're going to die. If you don't do this, Jamie's going to leave you. If you don't do this, like life's going to be awful. Like I would talk to myself and freak myself out. And it's also why we spent so much money. Like I'm not big on complacency. Like if y'all were on the builders call today, I hope you were, because Stephen Yee killed it, but he talked about he hid his money. So he did so he wouldn't get complacent. We just spent all ours. And now both ways it works out, but you guys haven't gotten uncomfortable enough, or you haven't figured out what you want. And it hasn't hit you hard enough for you to get up early, get to the gym like Jesse and Mike did this morning. Then like this thing started by, and I said this morning, if you're not here tomorrow by 8 a.m., I'd lock the doors and go, sorry, you're not in. Like, cause the lock-in started at 8 a.m. And I thought we were locking people in. So Mike, I thought we were going to lock the doors and not let them leave. That would be what I think would make everybody successful. But for real, like if this thing starts tomorrow at 8 a.m., be here at 8 a.m. Now I know like there are some people that do this part-time. I'm not talking to y'all, but for y'all that this is your full-time job, let's treat it like a full-time job. Let's pretend that if you show up at 8:04, you're going to get fired or written up. You'd stop being late. And let's pretend that if you walk out of the office and you don't have your goal of 3 apps or $3,000, you're going to get fired. Things would change for everybody because we have enough people on this call to do 2 million in a month without a shadow of a doubt. But we've got to learn to want to do things a little bit. We have to be more fanatical about our goals, Mike. And I think that's what Nick's figured out. He refuses to lose. He's got a great attitude, a positive mental attitude. He doesn't have excuses. If something's not right, he figures out what's wrong. He fixes it. He doesn't cry. It's very simple stuff that each and every one of you can do if you want to do it bad enough. So I'm going to shut up and let him rip because he killed it at conference. You
know what happened 2 weeks ago? He came in here. He didn't complain. He just said, Mike, I bought all the leads out of the CRM in this area that I'm running. And then I went over here. He said, what else can I do? He goes, I run in-home, but I can't get enough leads. He goes, what should I do? And he goes, I tried this lead source. I tried this lead. I go, listen, I'm going to buy leads from this place. And then I said, there's 2 places that I haven't tried. The Jack Life, which if you're on this call, don't buy them because I did. They delivered 1 lead in 2 weeks. Not any. They
do fraud too, but Mike, that company's a disaster. Like they do some bad stuff that we don't want to be any parts of.
Well, they gave
that is true. I will confess.
They gave me 1 lead in 2 weeks. I can't make any money that way. But then Nick, I said, and this other company, Mad Media. So Nick immediately buys it. He just says, okay, I'll buy it. That's all he said. Where normally when you give someone a lead source, they go, how many do you close? How many do you get on the phone? How much money? And there's like question. All he did was say, I got it. And he bought it. And then next, you know, he just started running with it and started closing and started making it happen. But rather than coming and complaining, it wasn't a complaint. It was, hey, man, I need a suggestion because I need to hit these certain numbers. I'm not getting enough leads. What else can I do? And then he takes the lead source and runs with it and makes it happen. That's what we've seen happen over the last couple of weeks. So there you have it. And that's where it comes down to mindset, I think, is everything. So I'll shut up now. Nick, are you on here, buddy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But if you could just kind of first talk a little bit about the importance of mindset. You blew it, you crushed it at conference. And I think what you said was so true, because we could take the most broken person in the world and give them the best training possible, and they're not going to win. And that's because it comes down to the way we think. It comes down to mindset more than anything else. So we can just go a little bit over that, and then kind of talk about the point where the leads weren't there. And that's where most people just fold up and they're done. They'll go back and get a job because they can't make it work, but you just said, I'm going to find another way, and you found another way. And now you're coming up to the office every single day, which isn't close, by the way. I mean, you live what, an hour away from the office?
Yep.
Dude, how many people, you were up here, me, you, Jesse met here at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and you live an hour from the office. You didn't have to, you could have worked from home. But I think that right there kind of shares who you are as a person. You came all the way up here. Me, you, and Jesse were all here in the office at 9 a.m. and we didn't leave until 4 o'clock. It was a full day of work on a Saturday for the three of us. So if we can go into a little bit about mindset, and then a little bit about the importance of working, or how you started in the field, then went to telesales, and kind of what you're doing right now. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So, so kind of a recap of my mindset, man, and I touched it at conference, was my last name, right? I really want to reestablish it. I want to rebuild it. I want it to mean something, and when I started off talking at conference, I was talking about last names. You'll hear Bryant's and Rockefellers and Kroc and just all these, prominent last names that everybody knows of, and then when you think of your last name, what's your thought process there? And who knows it? Does the world know your name? Obscurity leads nowhere, so if nobody knows your last name, and, my last name is unique, it's Zientek, so, and at first I would think like, man, it's a really weird last name, but the uniqueness is what I want it to be different, so now when I tell my daughters, and like, if, Z is always called last, like, it's unique, right? So now when I tell my daughters that, I tell them just that, that you have a very unique last name, and so make it mean something. And then I was talking at conference, and I think I even missed the part as I was representing back that my daughter, when she would walk in, she was sick, her legs were hurt, and I would tell her nobody cares. But now when I tell her to do something, or she has to do something challenging or trying, her mantra she chants is always, we're Zientek's, we can do anything. She's 7. Right. So that is what's going to, so like you just said, Mike, when you want to leave at 4, you want to leave at 4:30 because you feel that's the end of the workday. Zientek's don't leave at 4:30. Zientek's leave when the job's done, 7, 8, 9. I don't, it doesn't matter, until everybody else is asleep and I can't get them on the phones, then I'm done, so I'm not done when the corporate world tells me I'm done. I'm done when I say I'm done, and I'm not done until everybody else is done. Right. And then, like you said, man, we left at 4 on Saturday, which is, I'll call it a half a day for us, man, because we're here till 8:30 every other day. So that's still a light day. You know what I mean? So, and those little extra, just imagine, you sell another 3,000 hours on Saturdays, then that's going to put you up another 12,000 hours for the month, and those little leaps and bounds are what's really going to set you apart in your family. And that's what's going to help to change that last name. So yeah, you just got to do whatever you got to do to get the job done, man. So,
Nick, talk about the importance of how you did it, how you started in the field, and then how you transitioned over to telesales. What do you think what that did for you?
Yeah, so it's extremely important. So yeah, telesales, I think a lot of people have a misconception that it's just easier. I could sit at my house in my own luxury with a cup of coffee in my robe and do it. That's not it. So let's not be misled by that, thinking that it's so easy. If it was that easy, just like cliche saying goes, everybody would do it. And then even like Frank was just saying, like you're in crappy neighborhoods sometimes, but that's like good. You know what I mean? Good, I get to be in a shitty neighborhood because that's going to put me in a position to where I can eventually establish. And then when I go home, it ain't going to be in a crappy neighborhood, or I can avoid the crappy neighborhoods as much as I can for the time. And then I'm going to live in the crappy neighborhood. So I'm not only visiting, right? I'm going to be living there permanent because I'm not going to have any money to live anywhere else. But yeah, so it's extremely important, man. You put yourself in those uncomfortable positions, but that is there's no reward without loss, so like you can't appreciate pulling up to your house in a good neighborhood if you haven't had to spend the time in the crappy neighborhoods, right? So, and just the concept, so to what you're talking, transition into telesales. When you are on the phones, you don't have time to fumble, man. You do not have time to fumble. So if you're just trying to start off on the phones, can you do it? I don't know. I don't know. But my journey personally, I needed to have in-homes, because if I'm fumbling through an app or I'm trying to fumble with my login just starting like I did, right? So many different logins, so many different carriers, I would be fumbling around. if I'm on the phone, that person, just think about it. If you're on the phone with somebody and it's just this long, awkward silence, nobody wants to be connected with the phone to their ear all the time. They don't have a headset on, just walk, like they don't want to be on the phone that long. So if you can't call them and get the job done quick and efficiently, they're going to wind up hanging up on you. Number one. Number two, you need to be able to multitask to the point to where you know how to write applications like the back of your hand. So you should spend enough time in the field. And again, this was my journey. I'm happy. Let me say it like this. I'm grateful I spent enough time in the field to where I know how I have written every app plenty of times to where I'm efficient enough and I can have small talk still while I'm on the phone. So while I'm doing something, I know, okay, now I need a little bit of small talk because I'm doing X and I'm doing Y, because I need to keep them engaged. I need to keep them with me. If I leave that silent time on the phone, they're going to start to get a little, even the slightest bit frustrated, and then they're not going to be in the right mindset to continue to pursue forward with you. You're going to start to get on their nerves. So it's extremely important. And then yeah, and it just helps out, and it helps you with your presentation, your personal presentation, right? So we always know sales, you always stay on the skeleton, like never leave the script, never leave the straight line basis of what you're trying to do. But then you can also build your body, which will be the way you sell. Do you sell harder or you're a softer seller? Like whatever meets that your specific personality, you'll be able to include that. But it'll also help with figuring out exactly what that is, how you get the job done in the house. So me, that helped tremendously. I wouldn't have changed it any other way.
Got
Nick-
it. I'm sorry, Frank, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you breaking down the flow of that, and I agree with you. I think it's definitely important to understand the flow of an appointment by going into a home. It's just easier. And again, nothing's impossible. I think if Nick came in and had no idea you could go face to face, he'd have killed telesales just because it's his mindset. So if any of y'all are brand new going, well, I don't have a car, I need to do telesales. Okay, fair enough. No worries. Like, you get it if you get your mind right. But I heard your flow walking through your financial inventory or the client intake sheet. Can you go through that a little bit? Because I think the thing you do very good or even great is you stay in control on the phone. And that's a huge issue with people, even in the home, is staying in control. So that flow that you have is, to me, it seemed like it was pretty simple, and I think it could help a ton of people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that was that's the biggest thing. I was talking to Jesse earlier, and I was talking about sequence. Everything on the phone is everything in the home and on the phone is sequence. Everything is sequencing. So from point A to point B, and then you're going to have, again, little offsets that deviate, being like an objection, and then you have a rebuttal, and then you're right back on track. So first thing, guys, is I downloaded a virtual business card through an app called Haystack. Now on that business card, a couple of things are there. Okay. Number one, I have in the background, I have the insurance carriers we work with, and then it's an image of myself on there too. So now they could put a face to who they're talking to on the phone, which I think is really important. And don't put a picture of you in the club, right? Like, let it be known you're the professional or the other end of the phone. Okay. So, have a professional, yeah, right, popping bottles and like sparkles and things. Be the professional on the phone, and in the picture. So we got that. Inside the website is the National Association of Insurance Commissioner, which doesn't have all 50, but it has a good amount of the states in there to where they can plug in your info and pull up your credentials. And then also, when I put my name, I spaced over enough to where it shows my NPN number as well. So as soon as I'm on the phone with them, okay, I'm verified. Now, as Mike mentioned also, I've been running Mad Media leads. Now, if you're starting off on the phones and you don't feel comfortable, I don't necessarily recommend you diving into that immediately, because the leads can be anywhere between, I don't know, maybe $15 to $25. It's going to vary. So it's much easier to take a lick on $1.50, $3 lead than that. But that's just my recommendation. But the main key that I've been using is beneficiaries. The beneficiaries are on there, which also, as you guys know, there are also leads in ILC with beneficiaries. Wherever the beneficiaries are, that's extremely helpful. So when I'm on the phone with the client, hey, this is Nicholas. I'm getting back to you regarding the inquiry you submitted for the state regulated life insurance. How are you doing? Back to sequence. I ask them how they're doing, guys. I ask them how they're doing. Mike, you mind role playing with me, bud?
No, go ahead, do it, man.
All right, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, man.
Good. This is Nicholas. I'm getting back to you about the inquiry that was submitted online for the state regulated life insurance. How's it going today?
Good.
Ask how he was doing, because I want him to know we're conversating. I'm not going to go, hey, Mike, how you doing? This is Nicholas getting back in contact with you for state regulated life insurance, just getting back to you. Like all that, they're going to bang on. I need him to engage with me on the conversation. So now we're having a conversation, and it's not just me pitching something. Okay. So I got your, I received your inquiry. Your inquiry is in process. You got a couple minutes now to go over this information?
Sure.
Now, guys, if they say no, I'm going to schedule them. Okay, well, what I can do is I can schedule you. And then also what I've been doing is I've been scheduling 2 days out, because it shows them that I'm busy. Okay, so like I'll try. Okay, so I'm extremely booked tomorrow, but I do have Wednesday available. What's better for you, morning or afternoons? Now, of course, that's going to lag 1 day, but it's only 1 day. But again, it's showing I'm busy. I don't have time. I'm not on your time, you're on my time. Okay. And so that's what I've been doing. That's been working for me. So you got meant to go over this now. Mike said, yeah. Okay, perfect. So just quickly before we get started, I wanted to verify your information. Last name is File.
Yes.
All right. Email showing Mike File at Yahoo.
Yep.
All right. Address 123 Main Street.
You got it.
All right. Got your beneficiary down here as Susan.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And now if it does or doesn't, guys, the key component here is, do they have life insurance? Number one, on the phone, if they have life insurance, they know it's not free, because they're paying a policy. Okay, so that's one thing you know, if he already has life insurance, don't ask me if it's free. Is the coverage that you have right now free? No, you know what I mean? Like it's not free. And if they don't, put that in your pocket, and that can help you build the need more. No, I don't have any coverage. Okay, perfect. So then once you're into the need, well, you don't have nothing in place, right? So you can use that, right? Okay, so I verified all his information. Okay, so Mike, what I'm gonna do is the phone that we're on, is this a cell phone that you're talking with me on?
Yep. Sure is.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you my virtual business card. It's required through the state that I send that to you. In that is gonna be my NPN number. Now, what that does is that acts as my social security number for being a licensed representative in the state of Maryland. Okay. Let me know once you receive that. So guys, as I mentioned, I'm persuading his mind to where he's hearing social security number. I'm sending you my social security number, which is it's my national producer number, which is on my card. Could you let me know once you get that? You get that, Mike?
Yep, I got it.
All right, perfect. I'm also going to send you my direct license with the state, because again, guys, on that National Association of Insurance Commissioners, not all 50 states are on there. And I've had it to where somebody went on, they're like, oh, this state isn't even on here. So I just send them my license. That way, like, they got it. Don't even go looking for it. Here it is. All right. And then, Mike, I'm also going to send you my license with the state of Maryland. Could you let me know when you get that?
Got it.
Okay, perfect. All right, Mike. So I have here that your age is 50. What's your date of birth? And then I'm right into the financial inventory. I'm right there. And then now I'm right on track. What's your date of birth?
2872.
All right, perfect. Are you still working, retired, or are you on disability?
Working.
All right, perfect. So and you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have any life insurance in place right now. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Anything that acts as life insurance, such as the 401k, IRA, CD, mutual funds, anything like that?
IRAs.
Okay, I do have IRAs. And what would you say you got in there?
100 grand.
Okay, 100,000. And then again, guys, you know, it's just the golden question. Put that in your pocket for later. Okay, now as far as coverage amount, Mike, are we looking to put enough coverage in place for earth burial or cremation?
Burial.
Burial. Got you. Any use of any tobacco?
Nope.
All right, perfect. And do you bank with a credit union, or you bank with just a regular financial institution?
I bank with a credit union.
Okay, got you. What credit union is that?
APG.
And then I'll write that down. Okay, I'm writing APG down. Okay, we work with them. And now I'll say we work with them. And now look, from there to there, I'm not going to leave too much time, because I don't want Mike thinking, why is he asking about what bank I bank with? Right? You know what I mean? But I want to get that bank, because once I get into routing an account number, I'm going to say, okay, are we connecting this to your APG? Okay, well, and then I already have the routing. So now it's like we're already in a flow here, right? So anyway, APG, okay, perfect. So now, Mike, I'm going to ask you a couple of health questions. Ever have any history of any heart attacks?
No.
Any strokes?
Nope.
Blah, 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 right? Then we go through the financial inventory. It's all right here, okay? Now, one of the things that I've been doing, guys, has really been good. Now, we have their health history. We know, I didn't write it down. What would you say you were looking for, burial or cremation? We know
Burial.
burial. So we know Mike's looking for $15,000 coverage, okay? let's not complicate the calls. Guys, we talked about this earlier. Let's not try to complicate the call worrying about what he has in a 401k and all of that right now. Let's worry about earth burial. Let's just get that done. And then if there's a meeting after a meeting, we could do that. Right now, we need 15, between 15 to 30. So that's where we're at, right? So in that case, all he wants is earth burial. So I'm going to pull up 15,000, and I'm probably going to do 25, and then 25,000, and then 30,000. And then so as I'm doing that, before I go into, as I'm pulling quotes, I'm going to say, hey, Mike, so listen, this is key. This is what, trying to build the need, this is where it's at right here. So I'll say, hey, Mike, apparently you've heard about life insurance a million times over. You know, when you submitted this inquiry, what was on your mind? And then I'm quiet. So now I'm not selling Mike. Mike is selling himself. Mike is telling me why he needs this coverage. I'm not trying to pull it out of him. Ask a simple question, and then just, I'm a listener. So Mike, apparently you've heard about life insurance a million times over. When you submitted this inquiry, what was on your mind, man?
I just wanted to make sure I had enough insurance in place so my wife wasn't stuck with the bill.
Gotcha. So you just want to make sure, okay. Pretty straightforward. You just want to make sure you had enough coverage in place to cover the earth burial for your wife. Okay. Now, if that doesn't happen, what's that look like if you don't have the coverage in place?
I guess you'd have to borrow the money.
Right, which could take a long time. I got you. So I'm going to pull up a couple of different coverage amounts for you. I'm going to pull up. So Mike's 50. So everything has to make sense. Mike's 50, right? So me personally, I was explaining earlier, if you go based off of a 3.5% inflation rate, and then this is like in the weeds, but you can just say, be the pro, right? Be the pro. If you go off 3.5% inflation, cost doubles every 20 years, right? So we don't have to get like into the weeds on that. So Mike, I put up 15,000. That's typically what funerals will cost them right now in real time, which will cover your final expenses. Then I did a $25,000, and then I did a $30,000. Based off of inflation, 3.5%, cost doubles basically every 20 years. So that 30,000 would take you out to around 70. Or again, like play with the numbers. Maybe in that case, you know what I might do, guys? I might do 15, 30, 40, right? 30,000 will take you out another 20 years. If you wanted to make sure you had some left for your later years and leave a little bit of money behind, look at the 40. And then I would show those options. And then I would say, okay, Mike, you got a pen and piece of paper with you by chance?
Yep.
All right. And if you go write down 40, then I would have them write down to 40,000. 30, write down to 30,000. Then I would go to the 15, which covers in real time, to where price is the problem. Okay, I understand it, so I understand that that's expensive for you, right? And then I would just push on the lower end. I would just try to sell the 20. I'm sorry, 15. I would just try to get that done. That way they got what they need. They got on there for earth burial. They have enough coverage for earth burial in real time. And then I would say something along the lines of, if I go 15, 30, man, that's a lot. I might want the 30. I'm not really sure yet. All right, Mike, let's do this. Let's submit for the 15. Submit the application with the insurance carrier. All we can do today is submit the application anyway. You can't pay for anything. Submit it. It'll go into underwriting for a day or two. At that time, we'll have a response and we know if you get approved or not. Now, after you get approved, if you decide, you know what, Nick, I want to go up a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you in 3 to 6 months, and then we'll do an assessment and see if that payment's comfortable for you at that time. And if you want to go up, we can go up then. Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair.
All right, boom, and then you're in. Another thing is bank info, right? So the pushback, I've been trying something new. I've been trying it a couple of times and it worked. So people who don't feel comfortable providing their bank information, guys, look, I haven't got much pushback with socials because I'm providing my business social. Now we're in the form of reciprocity. I gave you something, and then automatically, like when you go into when you go into stores, sometimes they'll give you like little free things. That's why they need you to start reciprocating things. I gave you something, now you give me something, which is the sale, right? So it's all psychology. Bank info. So again, I haven't got much pushback on social. Bank info, I don't feel comfortable giving my bank information out over the phone, right? We get that all the time. Okay, perfect. I completely understand. So for that reason is exactly why it's required that I send you my license before we even start this call. Now, if anything were to happen irresponsible with any of your information, it's my fiduciary responsibility to protect that information. If something irresponsible were to happen, I could actually lose my license or even wind up worse, going to jail, right? So what I'm going to do is at the end of our application today together, I'm going to send you a copy of that application, which has the company I work for, okay, my license number on the application, and then all of my information. Does that sound fair?
Fair enough.
And then by the time I'm done, I'm sending them everything we just did together. And then if they're like tight on that, either way, if they push back, make sure at the end, print a PDF, send them an email. Okay, do you got the, you know what I mean? And just tie it down like that. And then I've been getting over that. So that's been working for me. And I love that, you know, so like I could lose my license. I could wind up going to jail. So what I'm going to do is at the end of our application together today, I'm actually going to send you the whole application, which has my name, my license number, the company that I work for. Does that sound fair?
Fair enough.
Got rid of it.
There you go. Nick, you said something in training today, which I said a long time ago. When people say, no, I want to think about it, whatever the objection is, it always comes down to price.
Always.
What did that change for you once you realized that? Like, what did you start doing at that point once you understood that?
Well, yeah, without a doubt, you know, and I learned that in the field, man, because it's like, it's three things. One is company. How many people, guys, do you talk to and you say, oh, I already have insurance. Okay, who you have insurance with? Well, hell, I don't even know. It's never company. They don't give a shit about the company. They don't even know what company they're with half the time, right? They don't like you. So you could feel if they like you or not on the phone. You could feel if they even or in person, like you could feel if it's you, and sometimes it might be you, and that's, you know, fix that, right? Or it's price. And I would say 80% of the time it's price.
Probably higher than that.
Because as soon as you pitch the price, then they got to think, oh, okay, well, perfect. Let me think about it. You weren't thinking about it but that's why I tried to really build the need with that simple question. You've heard about this a million times. What was on your mind? Okay, so that should, now value is more involved than price, you know. And then again, like when I pitch, and then so once I give those numbers, I'll be quiet for a minute. Try to let them tell me what they want. Now, if they're not talking, closed mouths don't get fed. So you gotta close it, right? So, okay, out of the $40,000, $30,000, or $15,000, which amount do you want to try to apply for? So I say that, I don't say, I'm not going on price, because I think if I go on price, they're going to be thinking, oh, he's only worried about his commission. And I'm just, how much money do you want to leave behind? That's the whole objective of this call. Do you want to leave behind the 40,000? And again, I made meaning behind each three. Do you want to leave behind the 40,000, the 30,000, or the 15,000? Which amount do you want to try to qualify for? And then I'll get around that.
Nick, we have a lot of people that train each week on telesales, and then new people come in, they hear this stuff, you know, the call tools, phone burner, wavy, all these dialer systems. You come in here, you're hand dialing everything. Did you ever get wrapped up in any of that stuff or think it was important?
Yeah, I was on call tools when I first started, and I think I wasn't able to manage things the way that I like to manage it. Like, I feel like I was losing leads, like left and right, you know, so I almost felt better, like, let me just hand dial. That way I know exactly that the lead's been fully resolved.
And right now with what you're doing, what is we talk about it every day, but so everyone hears it. What's your monthly goal? What do you think realistically can be done over the phone doing telesales? And
yeah, I want
on top of it.
15. I want to get to 15 a week. So that's what I was doing in the field. You know, I was saying between like 15 to 20 in the field. So, and I'm going to get my numbers back to that all over the phone.
And guys, he's using Facebook leads. And we all hear it all the time about, you know, this lead, you know, about these different lead types, but he's using Facebook leads, and he's talking about 50,000 a month using Facebook leads and then hand dialing each one of his leads, which I think is powerful. And
then the leads, you know, I went over this earlier, like, you know, don't we all wish we just had that lay down lead? That's not a real thing. Cause even, you know, I'm dealing with real time leads. These people submit this, like, I'm telling you, like, even if I talk with them and they submitted it 3 days ago, they're like, I didn't fill that. It's the same thing. It's all the same exact thing. I didn't fill that out. So it's not like it's the individual on the other end of the phone. The only thing we can control is attitude and activity, and then also train the skill set. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that you're ready for as much as you possibly can. Just be efficient as you possibly can. And that's through training. That's through being able to listen to other people. Like I tell you guys a million times, and I'll forever pay homage, man. I would sit in the other room and listen to Ryan Urbanski. Like, he wouldn't have to say, hey, man, come in here and sit in my office so you can listen to me. Man, I'm getting close to your goddamn office as I can, and I'm going to listen to everything I possibly can. You know, so we have to honestly, like, we have to pull our pants up, tighten our belt, and take responsibility for who is good at this and how can I get close to them? And we had a lock in today. You know, people showed up here like it was, I don't know, maybe 20. Like I know one thing, when even now, convention, it probably could have been more people at a convention. You know what I mean? Like if there's almost, X amount of people on this call, like, man, the game, you gotta get around it, man. You gotta get around it and get with people who are doing what you want to do. That's the only way to do it. Everything is done through that. You didn't learn how to conjugate verbs by yourself. You need somebody to watch and learn. You didn't learn manners by yourself. You have to be around somebody that can teach you, that you could watch and listen to on a day-to-day basis. All right. So
Jamie, you have any questions for Nick? You saw what was going on today, heard some of his training.
Yeah, I mean, essentially everything that he's telling you right now, I literally just heard him do just like 5 minutes before this call. So he has a very tight system that he's rehearsed probably over and over and over again. So take this call tonight and rewatch it over and over and over and over again. Go through his whole sequence, right? So I'm like over here, I don't even do telesales, but I'm over here, I'm taking notes, sequence, number 1, number 2, number 3, like you have to just get super intentional about your success. You have to finally just say, you know what? I'm not playing around with this thing anymore. The tools and if Nick can do it, Nick started here like the last month, like December, I don't know when it was, and he can tell you. And then went full time in March after conference. And now, went in the field from March till, I don't know, probably the end of May, right? March, April, May. So, and then now he's, full-time telesales. Like, I feel like he's like, all right, I'm going to master what time I have. I'm part-time. I'm going to take the time that I have and I'm going to master this part. Okay. Got it. Now I'm going to master going full-time, doing in-home. Got it. Mastered it. Okay. Now I'm going to master, you know what I mean? Like people are just all over the place so many times. It's like, can we just master something?
Yeah.
Just master something, please. It's so powerful when we talk about culture. The last couple of days, just having, Nick here, Jesse here, I've been here, and the way we've been working. And then we had, people come in from the outside today that aren't, haven't been here long enough to realize how we do things. But we're talking about building this culture, and everyone has the ability to do that, even if they're not in an office. But if we all start working that way and we all start trying to achieve that one goal and start pushing this thing forward, it's crazy how much things change. Like this morning when we were talking about going to the gym. I haven't been to the gym in like 5 months since I hurt my back. And then I was on a call and there were new people coming in from out of town. And then it's that accountability. I was up at 5:30 in the morning, went to the gym. Find an accountability partner, find a group of people that have common goals, and you'll be surprised at how much that accountability does for you. It pushes you and it makes you want to do more. So if you don't have that, find some people that you can kind of get into a chat group and you can all set some goals forward and you hold yourself accountable and responsible to each other, because it does certainly start changing some things. Culture is huge. Frank's been talking about it for the last couple of months. He said, we need to start change in this office. I'm not talking about the group as a whole, but in this office, we want a group of people that are coming in here and want to do nothing more than just absolutely come in here and kill this thing, because we know that we can do it. And it's been exciting. I told Jesse he needs to move to Maryland. Frank keeps talking him out of it, but I'm like, come on, Jesse, just move here and let's all kill it together. It's exciting, So does anyone else have, we got a couple minutes left. Anyone else have anything that they want to ask?
I want to add something else too. This morning, Jesse had like a bad call or whatever, and he came in kind of, like everybody does, like, oh man, just wasted time. This guy didn't have a banking account, blah, 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 right? And it's just like anything else. I told Jesse, I said, your mindset could either put you out of business or keep you in business. And so you have to check your mindset every single day. Every day. Maybe you have to check your mindset 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, but it has nothing to do with his sequence. It has nothing to do with his leads. It has nothing to do with how, yes, it does his work ethic, but his work ethic probably starts with his mindset, right? It starts with your mindset. If you are someone who is listening to the lies that you are telling yourself, whatever those lies may be, you probably are going to have to check your mindset a couple times a day. And it starts with just waking up early, like you talked about, being accountable for do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to be here at 8, You're at 8. We don't care if you're here at 8 or not, but just don't lie to us and don't lie to yourself that you're not going to be, right? If you say you're going to write, if you say you're going to work, 8 hours a day or whatever, just be accountable to that. If you say you're going to write, or help, 5 families a week, just do whatever it is you say that you're going to do and give it all you got. It's like our kids. Like, I don't care if you are a trash truck driver. I don't care. But by God, please be the best trash truck driver there is. Don't be a lazy trash truck driver. It's like, don't be a lazy insurance agent. Just do what you say you're going to do. You have to work on your mindset every single day. Some of us need to work on it more so than others. And some weeks we need to work on our mindset more so than others, right? So just know that your mindset can either put you in business or take you right out of business. So be mindful of what it takes to keep your mindset right.
No doubt.
We can take a few questions before we wrap up. Today was great, by the way, and I cannot believe how fast today went by. My gosh. We've been here 11 hours now. It feels like it's been an hour.
They go by fast.
I got a question.
I wanted to say something. And if we're not at 3, there's a few of us still here to get to that dang 3. I can tell you.
That's right. Who had a question?
Leads,
Yeah,
Nick.
I just want to know how to get a copy of this recording so I can listen to it again and again.
We'll post it tonight.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bud.
I had a question.
Zoom.
Sorry about that. I had a question for Nick. When you started off part-time, what was your schedule looking like for part-time? What do you recommend for a part-time schedule?
Great question.
My schedule was I was doing 3 things, man. I was training personal fitness. I was a personal trainer for fitness. I was teaching boxing, then I was doing government contracts, and then I was doing writing insurance. Now I was waking up at 5. I would be to the gym from 6 to 8. Then I would go home. I would do government contracts from 8 to 4, and then from 4 to 8:30, I'd be dialing, setting my appointments for my next day. So I would do with the time that I had. So that would be 4.5 hours. Sometimes I would try to skate out of work a little bit early, go into the office with Ryan down there dialing. So I would, to answer your question, from 4 to 8:30, I'll be dialing, and I know that if I got in contact with those people, more than likely they'd be off at that time, and I would go see them the next day, and I would dial if they were in the day.
Got it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
14 hours a day though, right, Nick? Every day,
Yeah.
at least.
Every day.
And it just says Zoom user. I don't know what your name is, but it's a very temporary thing. So if you have a full-time job, you're looking to get out of that full-time job and go full-time into insurance, it's going to suck for a few weeks, maybe a few months. But Nick, would you trade any of that time for what you have now in front of you, the opportunity you have now, and how it's going for you and your family?
No, not at all. And then not to mention, man, like I'm telling you, like this insurance is hard. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? It's challenging and it's trying for everybody. So let's not act like it's not. But the reward after the victories, man, of anything you do, money's great. You know what I mean? But when you have a crappy week, man, or a crappy day, and you just get smoked, and the next day you crush it, that feeling at the end of that day, money cannot buy that. You can't. You know what I mean? It's impossible, man. So like, Frank, when you were speaking at convention at the end and you looked at Jamie, you're like, would you trade? Like, you're talking about all the crap you had to go through. Don't expect not to have to go through it. Like, I don't expect for 1 second not to have to go through the mud. And I'm okay with that, and I'm willing to do that because guess what? Once I get out of that mud, man, that sun's going to shine and it's going to be so bright. You know what I mean? But in order to get to that, there is no way around it. Wouldn't it be nice? And you know what I was thinking about, man? Some people do. Some people wind up just somehow getting a horseshoe up their butt, man, and they wind up making it somehow. But when they tell their stories, they tell that story in fraud because they sat there, they whined, complained, and cried the whole time that they had to go through whatever little tough that they went through. They took it soft like a chunk. And then somehow they finally worked their way up to that spot, which very seldom does it happen. And then they can't even talk about the stories and really appreciate it like they should, man. And I never want to be there. I want to grow through situations, not have to go through them. You know what I mean? So I want to, where in 10 years, I look at my wife and say, can you believe we did that shit? Can you really believe it? It ain't about right now, man. Like what is it? Like, what is the money going to do without that? Like that is what I want, man. I want, again, to look back in 10 years, 15 years, like, damn, all of that we went through, man. Now look where we're at. But you cannot appreciate being at that spot without that. If you're there without that, what does it mean? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean nothing, you know? So like, that is what life, like that is what building your last name is about. How can you hand your last name down to somebody that there's no fight behind that name? Like, it just doesn't add up, man. There's no way.
Right, so that's the goal. I'm trying to start part-time. Unfortunately, I can't just do this full-time. I'm contracted for at least 5 more years with the Army. So it's pretty much 9 to 5 Army. And then after Army, I'm trying to do everything life insurance.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank